a video about basically me creating a fringe hat. That is something that's trending right now. Fringe, of course, also wearing like a western vibe. So this one's actually just a wide brim hat. It's giving Beyonce, but it was for a maternity shoot. My client actually requested this hat, so this is how I made it. I personally wouldn't call it a fail, but there are some things that I would have done a little bit different, but it still came out really great, and I plan on reusing it, and I might make another one just because it was pretty easy to make. I did look on YouTube to kind of reference other people how they made their hat. I'll include those videos just to give them a shout out, because I did watch your video to kind of give myself a breakdown on how to make this hat, and it worked out perfectly. I did do some things a little bit different, and one thing I wish I will do for next time, but use some Mod Podge to put the fabric on the brim versus using the glue gun, because I use the glue gun for everything. I wanted this to be super duper easy and quick and work to just at least make the photos look great. So with that being said, let's get into this video real quick, and I hope you enjoy. I hope you make your own hat and use it for a birthday, your own maternity photo shoot, or hey, just to be like street style if you want. But I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you again soon.
Yay! So here are the tools that I used for this project. The glue gun was my saving grace. This is black Gorilla Tape, scissors, fishing wire, and I did use poster board for the brim. So these are the measurements of 2 poster boards. It was 20 by 30. Okay, so I am going to say, when starting this project, use a clean space. I didn't have one. I definitely shouldn't have done it on the floor, but I was working with what I had. But just to say to you, use a clean space, preferably a table. Here I am now gluing the 2 poster boards together. When I tell you this glue gun saved me, praise him. So gluing the 2 pieces together, and I'm making sure that they are even on both sides. It did stick to that paper bag, which then left droplets on it, and it did make me upset, but it's okay. Now I'm using the Gorilla Tape to secure the poster boards, and as you can see, the 2 little droplets are on the poster board, so it's okay. I didn't try to peel it off. I did just spray paint over it, which you'll see later, but just so you know. So originally I was going to use a hat. I did see that in another video. They used a hat to cut out the hole in the middle. It didn't work for me. So now I got a nail. I put it in the middle of the board, which I did use a measuring stick to figure it out. And I figured out the middle of basically the middle of the board, and I put the nail in the middle. So I then tied the fishing wire to the string. Not the string. I tied the string to the nail and the pencil, and then made a even circle around. I did do it a couple of times just because, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. I wanted to get it right because it wasn't going back. There's no going back. But it worked out perfectly at the end, so there's that. So I used another piece of fishing wire. I didn't measure it out, y'all. I just guessed on this. Straight up, I just guessed. And I basically tried to trace and see how I can get around it evenly, and I got an even circle, and when I went ahead and drew the circle in darker. Now I am using a box cutter to cut the brim out of the poster board. I would have used an X-Acto knife, but I couldn't find any of my X-Acto knives, and that's so weird because I've literally had them from college, and anytime I needed them, I find them. And today, well, not today, but when I needed it then, couldn't find it. So the brim is cut. now I'm trying to make sure that I did make it even, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't, but it's all good. So now I am cutting the hole for the head to go into. Super easy. I used the box cutter once again. Please be safe if you're using a box cutter or an X-Acto knife. I'm saving this top piece because that is what I'm going to use to make the top of the hole. So just so you guys can see, I did fit it back in because in my head I was like, well, all else fails, I could just glue it back together and start over. But yeah. So I usually do clean up while I work, so right after that I started cleaning up. But here is the spray paint that I used to spray the brim of the hat. I only sprayed one side, and I did reuse this spray. I actually spray painted some decor from my boyfriend. I'll probably show that later because I did record a video, but I never used anything with the footage. So reusing this spray paint. Please go outdoors if you can. You definitely need a ventilated space. Some people don't care. Usually if I have a small project I don't care, but I'm also very messy, so that's why I was like, let me just go outside and spray. And I did make this dry overnight in the garage. So this is the next day, and I am adding the fringe. And honestly, I would say, guys, add the fringe last. I purchased this fringe from Amazon, and it's more of a curtain. If you remember from back in the day when they used to have like those beads that would be in the doorway, this is what that is. But it's just a cloth fringe curtain for the doorway. So I did cut the trim off, and now I am basically seeing if this is enough fringe for the brim, which it wasn't. I needed 3 packs instead of 2. I was short by 9 inches, which is okay. I did pull out the other pack just to see if I would be able to get away with just having the back out. Wasn't gonna work, so I did buy another pack. This is black satin that I'm going to use to cover the hat. So first I went ahead and cut out my 2 pieces, which you'll see in a second, but I cut out 2 pieces that I will use to cover the hat. And I actually only used 1, even though I cut out 2, but I think I did 2 just because of, I don't know, what is it called? Good practice, because anytime you sew, you know, you're doing 2 pieces anyway for the front and the back. So I think that's why I went ahead and did that. But cutting out the satin now, making sure that I have enough fabric to cover, because all I have to do is cut it off if it is too much. That was my logic at the time. But now cutting off the side piece, and like I said, I only used 1 piece to cover, and I see that this worked out perfectly, but then I also noticed the fabric needed ironing. So I went ahead and started gluing the trim onto the brim. And guys, please do this last. Unless you are like a true hat maker and you know exactly what you're doing, just add the fringe last, because honestly it will make all the pieces just look finished. And you can't tell in the photos, but if you're a perfectionist, or you know, you just like your stuff to look neat, that's my best suggestion. So now I am cutting out satin for that top piece. Please don't cut don't cut the fabric like that. You saw my hand in the way. I knew better than that, but I was trying to move fast and I did not cut myself. But don't do that, because a lot of y'all act like y'all know what y'all doing, and then you're gonna be in the hospital. And I don't want nobody saying, oh, I saw her do it. Nope. Because y'all saw Kendall cutting that cucumber looking crazy too. And don't follow her lead. So I got the iron the fabric. I am so much of a neat and tidy person. Like, I cannot stand seeing crinkles. I can't stand seeing like wrinkles. Like, I don't know if it's the Caribbean me and how my family raised me, but I just feel like, you know, you could have just taken a second to iron out your clothes, especially when event planners do that with tablecloth. Lord have mercy. So anyway, back to the hat. So I went ahead and covered that top piece, as you can see, and now I am cutting out my side pieces that is actually going to go around that piece to sit on top of the brim. So I did cut out my pieces evenly from 2 Amazon boxes. I went ahead and measured it out. I think each piece was 4 inches wide and then 8 inches long. I do wish I would have just made one piece versus using two, but you can make it one piece if you can. I probably should have just used the same black tape and just glued it together and went ahead and wrapped it, but I was nervous that I was going to mess it up. So here I am now using one of the pieces to see if it'll cover it right, basically, because I'm going to use the glue gun and glue those pieces together to sit on that piece. And once again, y'all, if you can have a clean and clear space for this, do not do this on top of fabric, because once I started gluing, it started sticking to my I'm laying on a sheet right now. This is my sheet that I usually work on, but I usually use it for other crafts, and doing this craft on that wasn't a good idea because it sometimes the glue would get stuck. So here I am now gluing the fabric to the cordboard box, and it was burning me. So that's another reason why you see me having the scissors lay on top of the fabric. I was using that piece to kind of help me keep the fabric onto the glue so it would be secure, because that glue gun is no joke. I actually got some glue on the top of my nail, and oh my gosh, that was so painful. So please, please, please be careful while you are working. So you saw that I was picking some glue off of that piece of fabric. But yeah, just use a clear space. If you could get a table, do that. I just don't want to use the house as much because this is not my home, this is my mom's home, and she's very particular about things. So if I do projects, I try to do it behind a closed door, and my door is where I'm working from. But if you can have a table, kitchen table, whatever, use a clean, clear space, guys. So that piece of fabric, I think I forgot to iron it, so I think I'm going to tap it really quick just so it could look neat. But there are my two pieces. Okay, so like I said, y'all, I was burning myself. Please be careful, because that glue gun is no joke. And that's another reason why I say just use the trim at the end, because what I had to do was go around the hat later in the project to basically make the fabric look neat on the top of the brim, and I could have just curled it over and then added the trim and not have to worry about that. So here I am now adding the second piece of fringe, and I said earlier that I was trying to see if it would work, and here it is now. It didn't work. And you'll see in a second. But if you guys use this really long fringe like I did, tie a knot at the end, just because it'll make your life so much easier and the fringe won't get tangled. It honestly saved my life, because I had to get my sister to hold the hat as I went around and try to detangle everything, and as you can see, it still got tangled. And for some reason, the third pack that I got, I feel like it was used because I didn't get it in a cute packaging like these two, and it was already balled up. So be careful with that when you buy that fringe, or any fringe off of Amazon, basically. But here I am now going around the perimeter of the hat and trying to see if I can keep the back open, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. You could see the gap in the back. It was about a 9-inch gap. I was hoping it would work, but it didn't, and it's okay. It is okay. So what am I doing now? Back to the brim. Well, not to the brim, to the top of the hat. So I think this is now when I am gluing those pieces to, yep, definitely doing that. So once again, y'all, clean surface, because right now that fabric is going to get stuck to that sheet. And I'm very upset about it. You won't see it in the video, but yeah, stuck. See, stuck. And you can see some of the glue at the top of the hat. So be careful. Yes, I do have a Sharpie trying to go over the glue so it could be black. I did do that. A little quick fix. It did help. So still going around gluing the brim. I am holding it. I wish I had some clamps, which I do, but I couldn't think of how I could have gotten the clamps to hold it properly and secure. So I just felt more comfortable just holding it in my hand. So letting that dry, going back to adding the fringe to the brim of the hat. I love this glue gun. I can't lie. It literally has like its own packaging. Like, what is it called? Like a sleeve. Like, it's the best glue gun I think I've ever had, and I have about 6. But gluing the trim on, please be careful. The glue is extremely hot. Yeah, still gluing. So while we're here, let me know what you would have done differently, because like I said, just because I would have loved for it to look very neat, some of these things like gluing the fabric to the brim, I would have used Mod Podge. Like, I did like using the glue gun for this part, but when I get to adding the fabric on top, I really wish I would have just used Mod Podge. But let me know what you think in the comments, because I am going to make this hat again. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know, because I'm willing to try it out. Like I said, I did watch a bunch of videos. I did add the videos to this. So you can go ahead and click and look through the same videos that I watched to give me an idea of how I can make this work. But yeah, nothing's right or wrong. We just make it happen, Captain. So this is where I'm gluing the 2 pieces together, and that's another reason why I said I wish I would have just made it 1 piece. It did work out, but I would have loved if it looked seamless. So 1 piece I did glue to connect on the inside of the first piece, and then what I'm going to do is just connect it at the end. I did use that as a reference to just be the back of the hat, but when it all came to footing that piece inside, it didn't even go like that. So that's why I say I wish I would have just made it 1 piece, because then it would have looked seamless. So I'm holding it again just to make sure that everything is secure. The glue gun is literally the best tool to use for this, even though it's hot as hell, because I'm still thinking about when it got on top of my fingernail. Y'all, that shit hurt so bad, can't even lie. So here are some pieces that I see that I think I probably used too much glue. So if you can, probably make dots versus doing trails like I did. But here is the finished product of the 2 pieces and that top. I think it looks good, but it could have been better. You feel me? And of course, if it wasn't me, then nothing like this wouldn't happen. Like, how did the fringe get caught in the iron? Y'all, how did the fringe get caught in the iron? Somebody tell me, because I don't understand. I don't understand. And I had to cut it. But here I am now trying it out. as you can see the gap in the back. I was trying to see if you could see it, and you can see it, so that was not going to work. So I did glue the fabric on the top, and this is all the fringe going around it. So like I said, I wish I would have done the fringe at the end, because once I glued the fabric on the inside, the fringe could have gone around and made it look extremely neat. So that is what I will do next time. So here I am gluing the inside of the fabric to that opening hole just so it can look neat. And see, this to me is okay. It's the outside that kills me, but it's alright because it still looks good. So I'm trying to get this part as neat as possible, because after that is when I'm going to stick the top part of that hat into that hole. I did want to make sure that it fit my client's head, so before I glued it, I did try it out. Am I lying? I feel like I'm lying. I think I had already glued it when I went to her house. I think I just was like, we're just going to pray that this works. I think that's what I did, actually. So here I am trying to fix the fringe a little bit. And now I'm cutting the excess fabric off of the brim. So this still would have worked out perfectly, but like I said, I really wished I would have added the fringe after the fact. So now I am trying to place that piece into the hat, and honestly I didn't like how it looked originally because I felt like there was a little bit of gaps in it, but I just played around with it and it worked out. So this is now me trying to make sure that everything just looks neat. We just want it to be photo ready. So back to placing it, and after this I am going to go ahead and glue the top part into the brim. And yes, using that trusty glue gun again. I think it wasn't hot enough yet, so that's why I had put it back, but now you see I'm about to go around the brim and glue that to the under part, and that was painful. A little painful, not a lot of painful, just a little painful. Okay, so getting all the fabric out the way just to make sure that I don't make a boo-boo, and I didn't, so I'm very grateful for that. So now we are gluing our pieces together, and y'all, it turned out so good. I'm so happy. It turned out so good. I'm really gonna make another one. I think I'm gonna do a white one, and then I'll do another black one later. But gluing the brim inside and making sure that I press it so it could be secure, and then I know I also felt for it on the inside because I wanted to make sure that no glue dripped through as well. That did not happen, but I just wanted to make sure that it didn't happen. So spinning the hat around, going to continue to glue it all around the perimeter just to make sure that it's secure, because we don't want no problems. So I don't feel like I was burning myself at this time, but I feel like I was still trying to be careful because I knew that sooner than later I'm gonna have to go around that hat again and going to probably burn myself, which I did. I did have like some heat protective gloves, but I didn't feel like using it because I felt like it wasn't gonna allow me to press and get the fold as neat as I could if I just used my bare fingers. So kind of sacrificed my fingers a little bit, but it's alright. When we're creating art, it happens sometimes. So I'm feeling good about this. Everything is looking and feeling secure. I'm just a little nervous that it would be heavy because fabric has weight. Clothing has weight. So that fringe had weight. And I still had to add 9 more inches of fringe to that hat. So here I am, as you can see, holding the fabric, not the fabric, but holding the hat to make sure that it is secure. And you can see the glue from the glue gun, but I'm really making sure that I press it so none of it seeps through and it has a good hold and dries well. Yep, a mistake, and I got it. Bow. So some people don't do this, but I go ahead and put in a new stick while I'm working. So that's what I did. I think that when I had shoved it in, it wasn't secure, so that's why I flipped it and stuck it in. So don't pay any mind to that, but just so you can know what I was doing right there. But still holding on, making sure that it's secure. This project was super easy, guys. I really finished it in I want to say altogether, it might have been 6 or 7 hours. I didn't calculate the time at all because I was just let me just do the work, because I was doing 2 projects at once. I was making this hat for her as well as designing a pair of jeans for her. So I was just trying to make the best of my time and just get the project done. So right now I am going around the brim and basically folding that fabric around the perimeter of the hat so it can look neat. This is the part where I said that I wish I would have done the trim after, because all I would have done was just glue the fabric on the underside of the hat, and then I could have had the trim go around and you wouldn't have seen any of the fabric. It would have been perfect. So that's the only thing okay, that's the second thing, but that's the only other thing I would have done differently outside of the Mod Podge, because I felt like if I would have done the Mod Podge on top of the hat, there would be less lumps and bumps. Even though I feel like it still looks really good, but I feel like it would have just looked a lot smoother. So here I am using that glue gun, y'all. 1 star. 1 star. 1. It hurt so bad. It did. But I had to suffer through it because the work needed to be done. It needed to be done. So that's that. But it went fairly smoothly. I was just trying to hurry and move along, but it worked out well. You don't need a lot of glue for this, but just make sure that you put the glue in the right space and take your time. I did not use a lot of glue. I basically used 2 or 3 dots. Yes, I am making a line, but I did 2 or 3 dots. And y'all, the finished product. And my girl looked so good in it. So happy. I will show photos of her later. Thanks for watching.